Welcome back to the Bettors on Saturday morning. 8 game slate, pretty interesting one. We will get into the breakdowns in a second. I think this is a pretty easy daily slate to break down. Most of the games are kind of straightforward. I've made a few bets. I have a couple of leans, but basically, nothing could make me change my lean on either of these games, to be honest. So, yeah, we will get right into it. If you have any comment or feedback, you know where to find me at the Barrel Zone on Twitter, and you can grab my plays on patreon.com/the Barrel Zone. So, first game on the board, New York Knicks at the OKC Thunder. Knicks laying 5.5 points on Bet365 right now. Game is off the board. OKC with multiple key injuries. Beasley is out, SGA is out, Hill is out, and Diallo just got traded. Knicks are a bit more healthy, but not by much. Rose and Robinson are still out. Payton is questionable. It's really difficult to back the Knicks with Rose and possibly Payton out. They are pretty thin at guard, and I really don't trust like quickly as a primary PG yet. So yeah, but my lean here is definitely towards the Knicks. My line is 4.5, so yeah, 5.5. I'm okay with that. I mean, you cannot really back OKC when SGA is sitting. He's by far their best scorer. Overall, I think this will be an ugly, ugly low scoring game. Both of these teams are top 10 defensively, Knicks top 3. And when you look at how they do offensively in points per possession or effective field goal percentage, Knicks are bottom 5. OKC is even worse. Also, OKC mainly only efficient offensively from 3, and Knicks allow the lowest 3-point percentage to opposing teams in the entire league. So overall, I think this is a decent matchup for the Knicks. They are also getting to the rim at the 10th highest rate in the league. OKC is the second worst defense in the paint after the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, so Knicks bit better on defense, bit better on offense, bit healthier. Matchup is slightly better, but I mean this will be a super low scoring game. I don't like laying over 5 points with a team that has trouble scoring and is missing their two best guards. OKC on the other end, they are playing Memphis tomorrow. We will see if SGA and the others come back for that game. I'm skipping this one. I think it's an easy handicap. You have to lean towards the Knicks, but I'm not trusting them. I'm gonna watch this game early time slot. I love those Knicks have been really good in these early games. I think they have played like 3 or 4 this season, and I don't think they lost one so far. So yeah, leaning Knicks, no value. If you want some action on the early game, I would parlay the money line probably. Detroit Pistons at the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn laying 11.5 points. I think you are asked to pay a little extra with the Nets here, to be honest. There are many good games to bet tonight, but this isn't one of them. I think there is a huge difference between these two teams, but my line is closer to 10 with Brooklyn still having the injuries. KD is out. Griffin won't play here. TLC doubtful. As for the Pistons, Hayes is out. DSG is out. I said that watch the Pistons in the second half of the season. They might not be as competitive as they were in the first half. They've lost a close game in their first time out from the break. We will see how they perform here. Overall, the offensive output difference in offensive output between these two teams is extreme. Knicks are grading as the best offense through the season, third best in the last 2 weeks. They are putting up like 120 plus points per 100 possessions. On the other end, the Pistons are somewhere around 106, between 106 and 107 on average. So extreme difference between the offensive output. Pistons only have 4 wins on the road this season and 17 losses. They are 2-8 in the last 10 games. This isn't looking good. I think Nets will easily win this game, especially as overall they aren't a great defense, but at least they are trying recently. But they allow like a league average 3 point percentage, and they are okay at defending the paint. And I think if you do those two things like at the basic level against the Pistons, who are such an inefficient offense, you will be all right. And overall, I mean, Pistons are below average against the three-pointer, and you are facing the team that's has the second highest field goal percentage from downtown behind Milwaukee. I mean, yeah, it's Nets for me, but there is zero value here. You won't find value in these matchups. Usually, when the way better team at home, fully rested, facing a team that's that has some difficulty putting it together. Next game, Milwaukee Bucks at the Washington Wizards. My line here is Milwaukee by 10 and a half. Yeah, basically it depends on Bill's status to me. So I would make Milwaukee 9.5 if Bill is playing, and 11.5 if he's out. Wizards on a back-to-back. They played last night. Minutes were pretty low. Bill just played 29. They were down by 17 points after the first quarter, so it wasn't a competitive game, and they kind of kept the minutes low. We could see Bill playing here, but I mean, he was questionable going into the game last night, so I would expect him to sit. But this current line on Bet365 at 10.5, I think it's perfect. It's halfway between my Beal in and Beal out lines. Huge again. These two games, the Brooklyn one and this one, aren't good, but the rest of the games will be on this slate. But yeah, this isn't a good game to bet. Milwaukee fourth in points per possession offensively, fourth in effective field goal percentage, facing a Wizards team that's 25th in both categories defensively. Milwaukee way better rebounding numbers on both sides of the floor. They have the second highest field goal percentage in the paint and the fourth highest from downtown, and the Wizards are allowing the sixth highest field goal percentage in the paint and the third highest from three-point range. One note here that I think that's extremely important, that the market has caught up to the Wizards. So the Wizards were one of the worst teams in the league, and now they started to play a bit better like 3-4 weeks ago. But I think the market has corrected. In the last like 10 games, their Wizards are plus 0.2 points on average against the closing spread. So closing spreads have been spot on with them. Market grades them perfectly. I think this line is once again perfect. Milwaukee should easily get the W here. Next game is one where one that I'm more interested in. Charlotte Hornets hosting the Toronto Raptors. Spread is 2.5. Interesting game. Raptors still without Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and OG. These three guys. I downgrade the Raptors about 6 points for not having these three starters. Obviously, significant downgrade. But they have been out for 3 straight games, and the Raptors allowed 121, 132, and 129 points in those 3 games. Lost all 3. I think this current Raptors team isn't really competitive. I mean, even against like a league average team like the Hornets, I think the Hornets should kind of easily win this. Raptors also play tomorrow again. They play in Chicago. That's a slightly more winnable game. We don't know the status of Siakam and the others for that game. So if they might be back, and they might just end up punting this game, keeping everyone's minutes like sub 25, and try to win that game tomorrow on full strength. We don't know if the guys will be back, but I assume that there is a decent shot that they will be back for tomorrow's game. So back to this game. In the 3 games where the Raptors lost recently, they don't have a good free throw rate to start with, but they were barely throwing any. That's a huge issue. Hornets way better rebounding on both sides of the floor. Raptors aren't a good rebounding team to start with. Obviously, Siakam out further brings that weakness out. Hornets better free throw rate on both sides of the floor. They face a similar schedule. Charlotte faced a bit more difficult schedule overall, but I kind of believe in this Hornets team, and they are now fully healthy. Pretty confident. They had some nice games recently, and I think the NBA is rightfully hyping them up. We expected this team to be one of the worst heading into the season, and they are average, bit better maybe than average. And the Raptors in their current form, down three starters, that's not going to cut it for me. Um, Only problem with the Hornets going into this game is that they're god awful against the 3-pointer, and the Raptors are basically doing nothing else, just shooting threes. But obviously, with multiple guys out, this isn't a huge issue. And on the other end, the Hornets themselves are also like a top five-ish 3-point shooting team. I think they have the fifth highest field goal percentage from downtown. Raptors are allowing the 10th highest field goal percentage defensively, so it's not that they are like world beaters defensively. One more thing, the Raptors closed +3 at home against Atlanta in the last game. If we flip the home court, that would be like +5 on the road with the exact same lineup. And I don't think there is a 3-point difference between Charlotte and the Hawks right now. I put it between like 1.5 points, the difference between those two squads. So yeah, if we accept the last closer to be efficient, then this cannot be 2.5. Yeah, as I said, I make it closer to 3, even a bit above 3, and I think the matchup is good. And this is a game for the Hornets to win, and they know that they must win these games when the opponent is super banged up. So yeah, I like the Hornets tonight. Money coming in already. I think any two is a good bet. Sacramento Kings at the Atlanta Hawks. Hawks laying 3.5 points. This opened at 5, and I'm kind of shocked as my line is exactly 5, and we've seen early Sacramento money coming in. I don't understand. I had to triple check the injury reports, but besides Hunter and Reddish, everyone is in for the Hawks. I just don't understand the early Kings action. Hawks are very similar to Philly to me. I always check two stats first: their offensive rebounding against the opponent's defensive rebounding, and the free throw rate. And Hawks are fifth in offensive rebounding here, and the Kings are just 25th in defensive rebounding, and the Hawks draw the second most free throws in the league, and the Kings allow the ninth most. So the mismatch is here, and I like to bet the Hawks and Philly similarly in these types of spots when they will be able to control the offensive glass and draw the extra points from the charity stripe. So yeah, I like the matchup for the Hawks here. Kings are dread awful defensively. Through the season, they grade as the worst defense in the league. Through the last 2 weeks, they grade as 29th, so not much better. They also shoot tons of mid-range jump shots in the top 10 in both efficiency and frequency. Atlanta allows the fifth lowest field goal percentage on these, so they are a pretty decent defense against mid-range shots in general. And I always say with the Hawks, they either get to the rim or shoot a 3. If you cannot defend, they are pretty decent at leaning onto these advantages, and they will exploit it if you are bad at defending either. Kings allow the third highest field goal percentage in the paint and the third highest from 3. So yeah, we have the rebounding edge, the better free throw rate. I think Hawks will be able to score from wherever they want. They've won 3 straight games. They are in the 8th seed right now. Young is coming off a 37-point game. He scored 32 in the game before. He's starting to find his groove a bit, I think. He had a couple of ugly slumps to start the season, but I think he's putting it together. As for the Kings, I mean, they had a couple of wins recently, but they have like 3 wins in the last 15 games or something like that. They beat the Rockets by 20, but Rockets are the worst team in the league right now. They barely beat the Pistons, who aren't much better than the Kings, and they beat the Lakers, but the Lakers didn't have James and AD. So yeah, Kings to me, nothing special. I think they will need to make moves. Either to start to rebuild or something, as the product isn't working and coaching is very bad. I'm done with the Kings, to be honest. I cannot understand why this is 3.5, to be honest. Hawks are hosting Cleveland tomorrow, but that's not like a look ahead spot or anything like that, and it's just a home back to back. So yeah, uh, anything at 4.5 or less is a bet for me with the Atlanta Hawks tonight. Portland Trailblazers at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Spread is 5. I make this 5.5. Interesting pinnacle lean. I talk about this sometimes. When the whole market is at a certain number and the pinnacle is moving towards one of the teams, and the only book up here on the board at 5 is pinnacle. Everyone else is just Portland minus 4.5, and I make it 5.5. So I have to agree with Pinnacle's line. I think we will see Portland money coming in. Minnesota without Beasley, Russell, cover is questionable. Obviously, Portland still without CJ and Nurkic. I think they are kind of expected back in like 2-3 weeks or so. But still, without them, Portland is grading in the top 5 of the league in offensive efficiency and points per possession. Through the season, they grade as the 6th best team in points per possession offensively. Minnesota is 26 both offensively and defensively. They are scoring like 105 points per 100 possessions. I'm not sure that that's enough, to be honest. We've seen a nice W from Minnesota last time out, first W for the new coach, but it was really just the Pelicans shitting the bed there. Minnesota is just 4-13 at home. Blazers will have a nice rebounding edge on both sides of the floor. They have the better free throw rate, both offensively and defensively. They put up the second most three-pointers in the league and at the 8th highest efficiency. Minnesota is league average, slightly below league average when it comes to defending the three-pointer. So yeah, I mean, with Minnesota, it's always they get to the rim. That's the only thing they can do. Karl Anthony Towns is obviously a great weapon. Although he played pretty low minutes in the last game. Well, I'm not sure if that was because they were winning easily or they will just dial his minutes even further back. He was around 30 to 32 minutes usually. He played like 29, 28 in the last game. We will see. It would be great to have Nurkic here in this matchup. Obviously, that's not the case. But I still lean towards the Blazers. I think 5 is okay. At 4.5, I wouldn't bet it, but at 4, I would probably bet Portland. Minnesota just covered 1 in the last 10 games. That was the upset win over the Pelicans. So yeah, no action from me, leaning Portland. This is a doubleheader, the same matchup we play tomorrow. So maybe we see something tonight that we can use betting tomorrow's game. Interesting matchup. I'm kind of interested to see how Minnesota looks after getting that relatively big W for the new coach. Dallas Mavericks at the Denver Nuggets. Denver just laying 2.5 points at home. Leaning Denver here kind of heavily. I will wait for the injury report. Denver played last night. This is a back-to-back with travel for them. They are now at home, but they play the roadie. Minutes were around 32 to 35 for the starters. Important, Millsap is back. He was coming off the bench. He played pretty low minutes, so I would expect him to be available tonight also. We will see if that's the case or not, but obviously him back is huge. This Denver team isn't very deep, and I kind of like that he's back, and obviously he has some great chemistry with Jokic. Hopefully they will play more together. I'm not sure if Millsap will start tonight. I would expect that he's coming off the bench again. So yeah, Nuggets beat Memphis last night. Morant missed a tough shot at the rim, like a tough layup over Jokic in the last second. But Memphis had a shot to beat the Nuggets. Although the Nuggets have been super. I mean, they won like five straight before that game. They had a plus 15 point differential. They know how to beat down bad teams. Overall, I'm not impressed with the Dallas Mavericks. They've won four out of the last five. They grade a bit above league average on both sides of the ball. But I mean, if you look at the entire season, and at this point, I think it's fair to look at the entire season. Yes, they had some injury issues, they had COVID issues, etc. But they have a negative point differential. They are minus zero point 0.7. The 18th best in the league. They have a 19 and 17 record. I mean, this isn't a great team. And going into Denver, where the Nuggets have a real home court advantage, um, rebounding will be super one-sided. Nuggets will be able to control the boards. Um, Again, Dallas putting up the six most three-pointers, but they are just 20th in efficiency. I'm always saying that they are putting up lazy shots. They aren't shooting as well as they did last season. Um, Nuggets allowing the sixth lowest field goal percentage from downtown. And offensively, if you look at anywhere on the floor, the Nuggets are in the top 5 to 8 in efficiency. I really like overall the matchup. I think, yeah, if you look at the recent wins of Dallas, I mean, they beat OKC in the first game of the two matchups. They beat the super short-handed Spurs team that barely had any players. They beat Orlando exactly the same as the Spurs, or even worse when it comes to their injury situation. So yeah, I'm heavily leaning towards Denver. I make this 3.5 if everyone is in. I've set on a 2.5. I will hedge it out if someone is sitting, but if everyone is in, I think the Nuggets are the side at 2.5. I mean, this home court is at least 1.5 points. Yes, the Nuggets did play last night, but I mean, I cannot make the difference between these two teams so small. I'm not impressed by the Dallas Mavericks. Next game, Indiana Pacers at the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix laying 7 points. Again, we see Pinnacle leaning towards the Suns. I agree with it. My line is 7.5. Whole market is at 6.5. Pinnacle between 6 and 7. Leaning towards 7 right now. Important and obviously amazing news. Caris LeVert is back for the Pacers. He will play tonight. He will be on minute limits for a while, so don't expect much if you own him like in fantasy or something. I think he will play like 15 minutes or 20 max. But he's back, and he will be a huge factor for this team in the second half. I love the guy. I think he will be able to do what he wants. He can be a primary scorer. I think this will be a great second half for him. So yeah, Pacers played last night 30 to 35 minutes on average for starters. I just cannot fade the Suns here. I think the line is 7.5 would be better. But the Phoenix Suns have been played so great basketball, like, such great basketball on both sides of the floor. I have them firmly in my top 10 on both sides of the ball, and they have been playing even better recently. They have a plus 14 point differential. They went into the break by owning the best point differential in the 2 weeks before the break. Pacers average. They are coming off a loss over the against the Lakers. They are 1-4 in the last 5. Grading as the 23rd best offense and the 18th best defense in the league. It's not great. They are attacking the rim at the highest pace in the league. I'm always mentioning this, but they are just 25th in offensive efficiency in the paint, which is bad. And yeah, basically their defense is only good in the paint, and mostly thanks to Turner, who has been amazing this season. He's one of the better defenders, defending bigs, in my opinion. But the Suns attack the paint at the third lowest rate in the entire league. They just don't attack, especially if they can beat you from downtown and they can beat you with these mid-range jump shots. They have super high efficiency from outside. I think the matchup is very good for them. I think they will take care of business. Seven, yeah, not good enough for me to get involved. 6.5, neither. But if somehow we would see Pacers money coming in, I think at 6 I would bet the Suns. That's my entry point for them here. All right, so let's sum it up. Couple of bad games to start the slate. I like the Charlotte Hornets at 2. I think this should be at least 3. You can find flat 2s at many shops. I like the Hawks. Opener was 5. My line exactly 5. I don't know why we saw Kings money, but 3.5 is not enough. I'm super low on the Kings, and Hawks won 3 straight, looking great. Young hitting his shots. Great matchup overall. I show a small edge on the Blazers, but not enough to bet. Pinnacle also leaning towards the Blazers. I think that's the side here, but I didn't bet it. I like the Denver Nuggets. I've set on a 2.5 if everyone is in and there is no one sitting out the second game of this back-to-back set for them. Then I will be betting them if obviously the 2.5 is available by that time. I think Pinnacle will trade this at 3.5. So probably the edge will disappear. But I really like the matchup, and I'm very low on the Dallas Mavericks. And Phoenix at 6 would be a play. 6.5 is not enough, but I think they are the side here. So yeah, sides that you can lock in right now. I think Hornets and the Hawks, and follow the Nuggets game. I think they will win this one pretty easily. So thanks for tuning in. That's it for today. I will see you guys tomorrow at the same time. If you want to grab my plays, you can go to patreon.com/thebettors and join the Discord channel. We have baseball futures also up. And baseball is starting in 2 weeks. Get excited. Enjoy your weekend. See you